I actually played the Palais Theatre in '82.
Wow.
Right, with Maiden. It was the first time we came to Australia.
Bruce Dickenson is an English musician, airline pilot, and broadcaster. Dickenson is best known for being the lead singer of Iron Maiden, a position he's held since 1981. After starting his career performing at small pubs in England, Bruce joined his first metal band in 1979. After joining Iron Maiden 2 years later, he debuted on their 1982 album, The Number of the Beast. The group became quite successful with Dickenson as their lead singer, selling multiple platinum and gold albums throughout the 1980s. In 2010, he delivered the lead vocals for the best-selling Iron Maiden album, The Final Frontier.
About changing a few things. I'll tell you one thing it did do. As a after effect of the treatment, I've almost lost the ability to taste sugar.
If you enjoy these videos, please remember to hit the like button, as it does help us out a lot. And comment below who your favorite celebrity is that you'd love to see in an upcoming video. His full name is Paul Bruce Dickenson, but is also known as Bruce Dickenson, the air raid siren. He was born on August 7, 1958 in Workshop, Nottinghamshire, England, making him 63 at the time of this production. He stands at 1.67 meters or 5 feet 5 inches tall. Bruce is a talented fencer who once competed at an international level. Dickenson was once ranked in the top 7 of all British fencers, and he started his own fencing company called Duelist. Bruce has written a number of books as well, including The Adventures of Lord Iffy Boat Race. After making disparaging comments about Sharon Osbourne's involvement with reality TV shows, Dickenson faced ill treatment at Ozfest in 2005. Various members of the Osbourne family sabotaged Iron Maiden's performance and even threw eggs at the band. In 2015, Dickenson underwent 7 weeks of chemotherapy and radiation therapy for a cancerous tumor found at the back of his tongue. Bruce Dickenson can often be found in the coffee shops of Chiswick, West London. He loves sitting and reading while enjoying his cup of coffee. Although most of Dickinson's political and religious views are unknown, he did reveal he voted for Brexit. According to Louder Sound, he said if musicians were running Europe, Europe would run a lot better because we'd all get on with each other and say, yeah. In addition to his multifaceted career, Dickenson also works with numerous charities. In 2021, he signed up for a charity bicycle ride with heavy metal truants. It's a 175-mile ride ending at a festival in Castle Donington. However, because of the pandemic, they reformatted the event, allowing people to choose different distances. He's vocal about encouraging his fans to join him. In an interview with Forbes, he said, "I'm using both sides of my brain at the same time, which makes it difficult for some people to speak to me. Having this ability is one of the reasons Dickenson is thriving in so many things. The unique combination of structure in the airline industry and the chaos of touring on the road allowed him to have a unique perspective that has served him well in his career." In 1983, he married his first wife, Jane. The marriage ended in divorce in 1987. In 1990, he married Patty Bowden, and the couple had 3 children together, including Austin, Griffin, and Kia. Bruce and Patty separated in 2019, and Bowden died in an accident at her home in May 2020. Bruce is currently in a relationship with Leanna Dolce.
If he was going to be running 100 metres, he wouldn't be running around on a football pitch to prepare for it. Totally different way of using your body.
Bruce's father was a mechanic in the British Army, and his parents married as teens. Raised primarily by his grandparents at first, he eventually started living with his parents at the age of 6. He then attended a number of private schools, making it difficult for him to make friends. Some of Dickinson's earliest experiences were listening to the Beatles. His parents eventually started successful businesses, buying and selling properties for a profit or selling second-hand cars. He was bullied when he went to boarding school, and during this time, he became attracted to hard rock. During this period, he listened to bands like Deep Purple and Black Sabbath. He also started playing bongo drums for the first time and began singing while attending boarding school. After returning home to Sheffield in 1976, Bruce enrolled at the King Edward VII School and joined his first band. After being expelled for urinating in the headmaster's dinner, Dickenson started to focus more on music. After graduating from secondary school, Bruce joined the Territorial Army for 6 months before applying to read history at Queen Mary College in London. During his time in London, he began playing in bands more regularly. Some of his earliest bands included Speed and Shots. Bruce's music career kicked off in earnest when he joined Samson in 1979. The group had already released a debut album by this point. Dickenson quickly became unimpressed by Samson's hard-partying lifestyle, and he saw this opportunity to move on after witnessing Iron Maiden play for the first time during a concert. In 1981, Dickenson was finally able to audition for Iron Maiden. Impressed with the band's professional approach to music, Bruce quickly won a place in the band and began following their strict routine. Dickinson's first album with the band was The Number of the Beast, which featured hits like Run to the Hills. They followed up in 1983 with the massively successful album Peace of Mind, which featured hits like Flight of the Icarus and The Trooper. Power Slave came next, which helped the band consolidate their position as one of the world's top metal bands. Over the next period, tensions began to rise within the band. Dickenson wanted the band to change and adapt their style, while other members wanted to maintain their current approach. After the Fear of the Dark tour, Bruce left and focused on his solo career. After a 6-year hiatus, Bruce returned to the group. Iron Maiden continues to release albums to this day. Outside of his work with Iron Maiden, Dickenson has released several solo albums, the most notable of which was probably Tyranny of Souls in 2005. In 2006, he sang the lead vocals for the Iron Maiden album, A Matter of Life and Death. The album was released worldwide and was one of the band's most successful albums. In 2010, he delivered the lead vocals for the best-selling Iron Maiden album, The Final Frontier.
But all these young people are there. I said, well, yeah. I mean, it's not people. I mean, I'm 60 now, right? So I never thought I'd be 60 doing this, but I'm doing it and loving it.
He has primarily earned money through music. Outside of music, Bruce is a licensed pilot who once flew for Astraeus Airlines. He also piloted Ed Force One, the converted charter airplane Iron Maiden used during their world tours. In 2012, he created his own aircraft maintenance and pilot training company called Cardiff Aviation. Bruce also created his own beer company. In 2013, Iron Maiden collaborated with a Stockport brewery to create Trooper, a new brand of bottled ale. The beer sold 2.5 million pints in 40 different countries as of 2014. Dickenson has stated that he wants to develop more beers in the future. During the 2000s, Dickenson presented his own radio show. He has a net worth of $130 million. He currently lives in a house in Paris. It features 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. Previously, he owned a mansion in Chiswick, West London. Bruce purchased this terraced house in 1981, and he's now passed this house on to his children. He later bought a large Edwardian house close to High Road in Chiswick. He likely owns the following cars: a Porsche 911, a Rolls-Royce Wraith, a Cadillac Escalade, a Range Rover, an Audi R8. He also owns a T-34 Soviet tank and a German World War I flying ace, a Fokker triplane.